Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Holocaust Remembrance Around the World, brought to you by the Emil A. and Jenny Fish Center for Holocaust and Genocide Studies at Yeshiva University. In this monthly series, we find people across the globe who are shaping and reshaping Holocaust memory and education. I'm Shai Pilnik, the director of the center, and I'm so pleased to introduce our guest today, my friend Ahmed Ubaid Al-Mansouri, who is the founder of the Crossroads of Civilization Museum in Dubai. This museum has the very first Holocaust exhibition in the Arab world. Ahmed, good evening. It's actually morning in New York.
Thank you very much for the interview. It's an honor to be with you. And good to see you again, long time.
Yes, long time. Our founder, Emil Fish, and I were in Dubai at the end of January on the occasion of International Holocaust Remembrance Day. I was a moderator of a panel, and I wanted to thank you for your hospitality, both on behalf of myself and Emil Fish. I can't think about a place where I would be hosted in such a wonderful manner. We're going to have an interview now about a museum that I had the privilege of closely looking into and also being to a more limited extent involved in the design of. We're going to talk about the museum, the first museum to have a Holocaust exhibit in the Arab world. That's pretty huge. And I want to recognize your leadership and your vision. You're a true visionary. But first of all, let's learn a little bit about you and your background. So Ahmed, tell me a little bit about how the museum called Crossroads of Civilization came into being.
So there are different phases that the museum has been through. And the phase number one, when I was a child, as you can see, we came to the museum, which is the Royal House. On the other side of the creek, there was my grandfather's house there. And I lived in such house when I was a child. I used to go to my father's house, but for me, my passion always was to go to my grandfather's house because it was a house of mystery. You see everything there, old, everything historical. So history, I've been attached to history from the beginning. I was seeing the old manuscripts, the old potteries, the old bronze, the old weapons, and everything. My grandfather's sword, and the lifestyle was there. So I was indulged to that, from the beginning. That's why I inherited a lot.
If we pause for a moment, you lived not far from the museum, which we should tell our viewers is in the old town of Dubai, in the older section of the city.
This is one thing. I was not in this neighborhood. I was in if you cross the creek on the other side, our neighborhood was on the other side. So it's not very far away. It's not very far away. Yes, you can swim or you can go by boat. That time, the roaring boats at that time. And so this was the first phase I had, the historical attachment from childhood. And I was very curious. I would like to touch things when I was young, and my aunt and my grandmother used to tell me, when you grow up, just, be careful, because they were worried that I'm gonna, mess with the manuscripts and all these things. So this has been a passion for me. I was very close to them. And the second phase, then I started, collecting gradually. First of all, I was collecting randomly. But by 1989, when I started receiving my first salary as a student, and I started collecting more systematically and with themes, and I had. And so I started building my collection till, later, 1995, I graduated and I had my first job. And then I started building my house, and I moved several places. In 2006, I finished my house, and at that time, one of my family members was like the mother of my children, my ex-wife. She told me, "Why don't you build, a museum in the house?" That was a very wise decision because I had a basement, and I asked my nephew who just graduated from MIT. I asked him, he was an engineer, an architect, and also was an artist. So he helped me to design very beautiful design and to make a museum in the house. So the first museum I had, it was in my house. It's a private collection, private museum, only by invitation because it's a house. Later, when I used to invite people, one time people from the heritage department and archaeology in the Dubai municipality, they saw it and they loved the concept which reflect the culture of the country, culture of tolerance, of respecting all civilizations. They say, why don't you just come outside? We're going to give you the best house available. So I did came outside. They gave me this house, which we have been there in the Crossroads Civilization Museum, which is a royal house, and they liked it. So after I established the museum, they give me 2 more houses. That's why I have 3 licensed museums there. And I was going to take more, but there are no more houses available. But hopefully, I'm pushing for more houses, at least 2 more museums.
The Crossroads of Civilization is a beautiful compound. So it is a big house with a square garden in its very heart, consisting of a number of galleries. So maybe you can describe to us the type of galleries and what each collection focuses on.
We'll do that. If I may, just before that, why we call it Crossroads Civilization, if I may. I call it the Crossroads Civilization Museum because of first of all, its physical location. It's between Dubai Creek and the Arabian Gulf. Dubai Creek was a natural port. From the archaeological findings which were found in the creek since 3000 BC, it was a place, a natural port between west and the east. So people, the traders used to trade with barter deals, through barter deals. And we used to import from the east, re-export to the west, and vice versa. Import from the west, re-export to the east. And there were lots of archaeological items were found there in the Dubai Creek. And so this one aspect, in the back of the museum, we have the Arabian Gulf, where we have the first records of the trade there was from 600 or 700 BC by the Greek. There, I'm talking about
this was not a trade in oil, right? The oil trade began recently, if we think about the long history. So what were they trading in?
Good. We have natural ports. We are exactly in the museum between 2 ports, the port of Dubai Creek and the port of Rashid. Right now we have Rashid port, and these were natural ports available in the past. Before the oil, by the way, we had the pearls. Pearls were very important for us. The Gulf was a very famous pearl. Even Pliny the Great, who did the first encyclopedia in the world, who was born around 23 AD, died around 79 AD. If you see the book we have there in the museum, he has spoken about the best pearls in the world are the pearls from the Arabian side of the Gulf, so which we have there. So pearl was there. Also we have fisheries, and also we have many other things like different trading goods, exchange goods between everywhere. It has been a trade hub between East and the West. So in the museum, we established 6 galleries. The first gallery is the local history. The local history, it consists of historical facts about the region, which we have earliest books that go back to the Book of Arian. We have the first edition of 1798, which talks about Alexander the Great and it's the relationship between Alexander the Great and our region, our side of the region, with the chiefdoms of the Gulf, which is very interesting. I'm talking about 324 BC. And also we have the Encyclopedia of Pliny that also 5-6 pages talks about us. Also we have the first royal edition of the Gasparo Balbi, the Venetian traveler, very famous traveler, the edition of 1590. We have the only royal edition which is the first Western edition, talks about our cities, which we have Dubai, Ras Al Khaimah, Mugawain, Ayman, all of the island, because he was looking for the pearls. And we have the oud, the perfume, and we have the jewelry, and we have the coins of King Trajan. Different elements that reflect the historical aspect, facts that are not existing outside. And these books are great references to introduce the local history. Then we have the second gallery, which is the Pearl Gallery, which is a recent gallery. This is the Pearl Gallery we have established on January 10th, 2022. And here we have the rarest pearls in the world from the East and the West. Pearls whether from oyster or from clams, and also historical as the importance of pearls in Judaism and Christianity and Islam. Also talk, the importance of pearls in all civilizations. And also we have historical items which we have inherited, like a royal map by map about the pearls made by a royal cartographer. Also documents from our family when they were involved in pearls. Having said that, if I may just correct something, the museum has been established in the year 2012 outside for the public. So the local gallery is the old gallery. The only 2 galleries which are new are the Pearl Gallery and also the Holocaust Gallery. The Holocaust Gallery, it has been established last year, Yom Hashwa. It was on April 8th, and we had an event. At that time, the gallery was supposed to be at that night temporary until we see the reaction of the people, of the audience who were there. And we were at that time, I remember it was very interesting while we are having our event, we were surprised by a Twitter, a message, and a voice message by Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu at that time. He was talking about right now in Dubai, there's an event about the Holocaust, which was very interesting recognition, although we did not have any social media at that time. So we're very happy, just through word of mouth has reached the Israel, 3 hours and a half flight. So, and then we decided, by next morning that, I decided that this is going to be a permanent gallery because I saw the reaction of the people, of the local community, of the Emiratis, of our guests, and also of our Jewish community who were also a part of us. And we decided to make it, I decided to make it a permanent gallery. So that's why it is the first permanent Holocaust gallery in the Arab and Islamic world.
What were the reactions? I'm curious, what were the reactions? I imagine the reaction of Jews, but I'm curious about the reaction of the Emiratis when they come and learn about the Holocaust. And I'm also curious, what does an average Emirati know about the Holocaust before this museum was created?
So let me ask about the last question. I'm going to answer the last question, then I'm going to respond to the reactions. So about myself, and as an Emirati, I know about the Holocaust from the 4th grade. So when we study, for example, I study history and all these things. So and also I come from a family where, educated, and we have so we know about the Holocaust. So we know about the Holocaust, it existed. We know, the horrible things happened there to the Jews, and we are aware of it. But but we are detached from it. So it's not part of education. It is mentioned in the education system. So we know about it. It's a part of the history of the humanity, history of the world. And the average Emirati, they know about the Holocaust. So Emiratis, besides education, it depends. When you go to universities, of course, if you go to universities, you have to take history, and part of the history, you have to study the history of the world. Europe and the Middle East has always been connected with each other. If we study about the history of the Middle East is always with the history of Europe. So these things are part of our education. So people know about the Holocaust. However, the concept of educating about Holocaust, as the strategy to prevent it, this concept does not exist, or did not exist, until last year. So this concept did not exist. So it's about, because, it's a historical fact. People know about it. And at the same time, you have about the media in the region, mainly either they don't mention it, and the influence of the media, or they try to downsize its effect, or try to make it downsize it in a different aspect. But we'll come back to this point again, because I'm speaking right now, I'm trying to remember what happened there. So that night when we had the Holocaust Gallery, before I talk the reaction, I will tell you what this consists of. It consists of mainly 4 main parts. Part number 1, it is to introduce to the region here how the narrative of the Nazis, was developed at that time. The root cause from our understanding. We were going chronologically there. The second part of it, the stories. We're sharing the stories of the people, the stories, the horrible stories of different concentration camps, and we have taken these facts from families. And then also we included, just because we don't have many original effects. So we have one of our friend, an Israeli artist. He made, that he took the picture of the boy with, when they were pointing gun at him, all of the guns. So we have brought real guns, all guns from World War II and before, and guns which are used in in both the regions, Europe and here. And we have the module of the boy. So just to create the effect. And then and part of it also, we have Q&A, lots of Q&A about the Holocaust, different questions people ask about the Holocaust. Also, we have put the pictures of the children who got killed during the Holocaust. We have lots of photos, around the guns, these guns which are there. So just try to really recreate the image, just try to, to communicate with the public. So, and the third part of the gallery is about the righteous among nations from the Arab and Islamic world, for a reason to link it to the region. People have seen, because people who are in denial, they cannot deny everyone there. So this is kind of, and these stories are very interesting stories which show solidarity and harmony, and people risk their lives. We have people from Algeria, the imams, who have fatwa not to give, not to listen to the Jannatis and give the Jews to them. We have stories from the Persian consul who saved the Jews. We have from the Turkish consul who saved the Jews also, and from Dr. Muhammad Hilmi from Egypt, and we have the Albanians, and other stories. The whole idea is to show the solidarity, the link, and also we have the last section is the hope, towards the future. And where the Muslims and the Christians, everybody went to Auschwitz and they prayed there, with and then did commemoration, and it's a great acknowledgement which happened January 2020. The whole theme of the Holocaust is from, you have a verse in the Mishnah, also we have it in the Quran. Part of the verse, part of the verse says, وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا, talks about the nafs. وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. Who saves one life, saves the whole humanity.
Saves the whole world. Mm-hmm.
The whole world. So the whole world. So and also the opposite. If you kill one person, it's like it's like kill the whole. It's the harm for the whole world. And how about when you hear about a genocide, a crime against humanity against 6 million people, minimum 6 million people, because of their race, because of their ethnicity, because of their religion, whatever reason, whatever claimed justification they have, whatever. So this was the biggest crime against humanity. So this verse is the verse that we go with it, and the Holocaust Gallery. And of course, we have the quote from our foreign minister when he went to Auschwitz. It should never happen again. And we have many quotes from great leaders there and pastors from Christians and Muslims and Arabs. And we, through this Holocaust Gallery, we're trying to reintroduce the Holocaust in the Arab world and the Islamic world about education. And also the trigger for it was one beautiful trigger, for me to be attached to the Holocaust and to be, to think of it all the time. When I was in the United States in 1994, at that time when they established, when I was a student, they established the Holocaust Museum. I was very touched by the speech of the rabbi, of the Jewish people that were talking there, mainly because it was, I learned there, Holocaust is not about history and the past and have to close the chapter. It's about humanity. The whole idea is this museum is important. It's not a political museum, it's a historical museum, just to prevent such things to happen again. And he was talking about different, even genocides were happening at that time in the world. And, acknowledging them and saying, all of these things, we are talking about the history. The way he explained, he was talking about all of us. So the rabbi was representing all of us there. So that was the positive trigger, for me just to always think about it and to be there. And about the reaction of the people. So I mentioned those elements of the museum, of the gallery of the Holocaust. So I see when we were doing the tour there, we see, first of all, we had the event before the tour. The event, we have speakers, at that time, the ambassador of Canada, Her Excellency Marcy Guzman, she was the one there for the opening with me. And we had leaders from the Jewish community. Rabbi Yehuda Sarna was with us also, Jean Kandiach, and then you have, Ross, Krill, and we have and the Jewish community with us, and we have people from the, from the local community, also from the government. So they came there. And then when we started this, and the prayers, Rabbi Abadi, for example, he was also doing the prayers in Arabic, very beautifully, so touching, and he was chanting these prayers in different Arabic styles, rhythms, whether Hijazi or Lebanese or another classic one which I forgot, but that was very touching. And in the middle of the event, there was a call for the prayer, and then Rabbi Abadi stopped there, and then wait for the prayer, call the prayer to finish, which was very beautiful. It was very spontaneous. There is exchange of respect from both sides. It's about compassion. When we talk about peace, we're not talking about only peace politically and economically. Also as family, as cousins. Before that, we're brothers, having compassion for one another. We are too late to remember the Holocaust victims. We are too late for that, but it's never too late. It's never, it's not. It doesn't mean that it will never happen. So I saw the reaction. So people were coming there. And at the beginning, and they were seeing, and it was suddenly, outside, and after the event, people having the reception. But when they start to go to the Holocaust Gallery, it's different feeling, a different feeling, different thing people have there. And we went through everything. And it was because it was first time, I think, a proper and genuine thing happened in the Arab Islamic world about the Holocaust. So then people start asking questions and reading, trying to read. Lots of people were reading this Q&A, because we have lots of Q&A about, about as a part of the gallery, and going through them. It was a very long night, very long night, and people realized. And the media, were not very fair with us. We're not that one, but mostly, but the international media, by the way. But the people reaction was very great, and then we have people coming. Next day we have people, they heard about it, they came there also.
And Ahmed, I'm curious. In your mind, religion is something that creates a bond between people. You can see the commonalities between Jews and Muslims. I remember that you shared with me a very powerful insight while we were at the museum, that for you, the Jews are indigenous people of Israel, and that the Arab world needs to understand that they belong to the climate, the culture of the entire region. They are not foreign colonial invaders. But religion is also a cause for a great divide between people. So I'm curious how you look at your own background and your own unique vision of Islam and Judaism from an Emirati point of view. Is there something, am I right to say that there is an Emirati perspective that may be different from the perspectives of Muslims and Arabs in other countries?
I know. I think, if I may, thank you for the question. This is a very inspiring question. I hope, stimulates many thoughts. I love such conversation. There are multiple things here. We are in the Middle East. We cannot escape religion. Religion is part of our culture. And we really love when we see very devoted Jewish people who respect their religion, their values. And honestly, I pray more now when I'm with my Jewish friends. I pray, even if I go to the Shabbat, dinner or lunch, I pray there. But it's very inspiring. It's very spiritual. So something about us, both religions and both ethnicity, is that when we meet, we become more religious. Even the secular people start talking about religion. Even people who are from both sides. So it's very interesting. And I will talk about. I have a couple of good examples of that. Also, yes, you are right. In the museum, because after the Holocaust, we have the original gallery, the gallery which really, changed the culture, because the culture, or introduce, the Israelis and the Bnei Israel and the Jewish people in the proper way. The gallery which we have about, the Palestine Holy Land, and also the multi-faith, monotheistic religion. So the gallery where you can find, letters from, as you say, from Theodor Herzl to Shimon Peres' autograph, and to different letters between the Jewish people in the region. And also where you can see in the top there, the photos and pictures of historical places of the Jewish people, of the Jews in the MENA region, the Middle East and North Africa, which is very important, because the pictures speak for themselves. It's to remind the people, yes, Judaism is a religion, but also they are Jews. As we are Arabs have tribes, the Jews have tribes, and because of political narratives in the region, people have forgot, about the Jews, that they're cousins. They forgot about these things. And the political narrative was blinding people in so many ways in the whole region. And I think that there are lots of stereotypes from both sides because of this gap. The political narrative was, actually a non-realistic virtual wall between both brothers before being cousins. So we were brothers, then cousins, then enemies. No, now we are brothers back again, more than cousins. So, and this is very important for people to remember that, not the history. I'll give you one example, not from Jews and Muslims, one example with the Christians. How religion was very important. At the time of the last Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his companion, at that time, the Persians, who were the pagans and the fire worshippers, defeated the Romans, who were Christians, who were monotheists like us. And the companions and the Prophet, they were very upset, very disappointed, because they are monotheists, because they feel close, they are brothers by religion, and they were defeated. This is chapter of the Rome. If you check the Quran, chapter of the Rome mentions that, the first verses, غلبت الروم, And then God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, they were defeated, yes, in the lower part of the earth, but they will come back again in few years, as promised them. So just to make them, to inspire them, because the Prophet and the companions, they were very, very disappointed. How come they are monotheists, and they were defeated? Because they were upset. You have to know the power of religion, because believe in the same God. We are brothers in the same God also, not just ethnicity, But when politics mixed with religion, everything can happen. So here we are right now talking purely. Islamically, I will tell you another example, very beautiful example. I learned 10 days ago. We have scholars came from the Islamic Affairs in Dubai to see the museum. So I showed them the Holocaust gallery, and then they went through them, very beautiful, we went through them, we took their time. After that, and we had conversation there, very beautiful. Then we went to the Palestine and Holy Land, and they showed the letter of Theodore Herzl, and other things, and different documents we have there about the Jews and the Muslims in the Arab world, and they show the photos of the Jews in different countries, whether Saudi Arabia and Oman, in Egypt, in Tunisia, in Sudan, in Morocco, in Yemen, different places. Then we went to a place where we have the Jewish prayer bowl or magic bowl. And this is the unique about that one, according to the translator and the professors from Haifa University. Usually the prayer bowls either in Arabic, either in Hebrew or in Aramaic. This one is Aramaic and Hebrew, and also the word is Arabic. And the prayers are very different Arabic. So they translate for us the prayer, the exact prayers in Arabic. And
this is an item in your museum. So the items in the museum constantly show the sense that Jews belong to the region and belong to the culture and also belong to the religion in a way.
Exactly. So that item, when they saw it, they said at the time of the Prophet, the Jewish rabbis, they were reading prayers for the Muslim and vice versa. And this doesn't happen between any religions, because we have stories from the time of the Prophet. So and they asked the Prophet, I said, yes, and they were also praying. For example, somebody's sick, they have prayers from the Quran or from the Torah or Mishnah, but the prayers we have, each one of us. So that beautiful 19th century magic or prayer bowl reflects that culture. And this is from our region, 2 hours and 10 minutes from Dubai. That piece was found from a Jewish community there. So just like on the other side of the ocean, and from Arabian side. And what I want to say is that there are lots of examples how the religion lives together. I see the excitement and when people of the religious people in my museum, especially when they see the Jewish items, more than other people. We are not talking about the people who are influenced by politics, but they don't know anything about the religion, or people who are extremists. Extremists are psychologically and sociologically damaged. Those do not reflect people who are religious. You and I would believe in God. You and I would pray. And many of the people from your audience, your university. So we believe in God. That doesn't make us enemy. Indeed, the more I see you devoted, the more I become devoted. So, I mean, if you notice, there's two things about Emiratis, for example, and the Jews. Each one of us love their identity. I work different places. I established the space sector. I built 2 satellites. I did work different areas, but I never changed. That's my identity, and my identity from outside reflects who I am inside. So we love it when the Jews they respect their identity, and they have this. So this makes us more closer because we appreciate what you feel. We appreciate. Both of us, always think forward. We never think backward. Always, we spearhead to become, to develop and to spearhead development in our countries, wherever we are, and to become pioneers. And we have more than 1,100 years of good life together than the last 70 years. So we cannot, deny the past, and we have to, in fact, we need to capitalize on the good life. And we have many evidence for that. And as you said, yes, in the museum, we have many items from the Jewish people and from Jews who were living there, whether they are individuals or the religious aspect, both of them. And they are part of the region, and they are not foreign. We have the same father, and we have, as I said, we have same father. We are brother for being cousins. And at the right time, when the establishment of the relation between Israel and the UAE happened, this establishment reflects. It happened. At the time when there was no hope in humanity, there was pandemic. You know, that was the most beautiful, the most powerful, peace happened, and the hope for the humanity that lifted up the whole region.
Point. That's right. It happened at a low point in the history.
And the Abrahamic Accord, that's why I believe it, it's a catalyst project, that really can be supported to include others also, and can spearhead change in the region. When the Jews and the Arabs, they live together peacefully, they are good with each other. Middle East was contributing to the world. The Middle East and North Africa, they were contributing to the world in knowledge and science and everything. We were, actually leading with the values. Most of the monotheistic values come from the same region. And there are lots of things between us. I learned from our scholars that, we have adopted from Musa bin Maimun, 22 of his treatises. When he talks,
Musa bin Maimun is Rambam, right? Moshe bin Maimun.
And also, like when you read, for example, about the God, the description, you have also, it was by Judaism and adopted from Islam. So the only two religions that adapt from each other more, both of our religions. But people don't know about these things. Even the Prophet said, when you want to learn about the values, about the whole historical things about Ben Israel, about the prophets, all prophets, go take it from the Ben Israel, learn from our Ben Israel, our cousin, because they know better about the history. And he asked us not to twist it. If we twist it, we get cursed. Also, in Genesis, if you think, there's a verse God talks to Prophet Abraham. If I'm gonna bless who blesses you, and I'm gonna curse who curses you. We pray 5 times a day, and 17 times minimum. We pray, for Prophet Abraham and his descendants. I will do for Prophet Muhammad his descendants, and we have to pray that. Our prayer is not complete if we don't pray for Prophet Abraham. So, and we see the blessing from God. So there are lots of things. If people think about it, we have lots of commonality and lots of reasons to be together than separated. At least think of the future generation.
So it seems to me that you talked about the combination of religion and politics. And, growing up in Israel, I do know that there are, long-term, long-standing civilizational commonalities, but there's a great deal of friction, and especially religious friction. And here I think about not the combination of religion and politics, but the combination of religion and education. And it seems to me that now it starts to all come together after I speak to you now, coming back from Dubai, that every single item in your museum, in a way, was trying to think about the connection between Holocaust and pearls. Every single item in the museum embodies this relationship that you would like to see. The placing of Jews as a part of the region, the notion that the Jews and the people of Dubai have been traders, have been open to different cultures. I have to say you are really one of the most inspiring figures in Holocaust education that I've met in my life. I'm wondering, what is your vision for Holocaust education in the United Emirates, in Dubai, at the Crossroads of Civilization Museum for the 21st century? How do you see the future?
I see the future is that I think people because our whole festival, our Holocaust gallery is small but very powerful in terms of message. And the beauty about the Holocaust gallery it was built by Muslims and Christians. It was not built by Israelis or Jews. The creator is a Jewish person. The creator is I put it's my museum, my gallery. I put the structure, but the creator was an Israeli Jewish person. But the beauty, most of the people who built it completely were from the region, not from the region, from the Islamic world, and Christians also. The Hanukkah we saw there also was built also by the Muslims and Christians. So this is very beautiful. You have people from different religion contributing that. So that's a very positive sign. And everybody built this with passion. And that's why the message, when something is made genuine, when people, they are committed and devoted, when they build something by their heart and mind, God blesses that. So it's blessed there. I believe, someone will come after us very soon. In less than 5 years, we're going to have a proper Holocaust museum in the Arab Islamic world. This number one. If I don't do it, somebody else will do it. Okay, this number one. So we have a huge big one. As I told you, what matters is the message is very strong and related to the audience of the region here. And secondly, for education, there's a talk, and we have already established talk, and there's talk with the different education institutions, with the ministry also. talk about educating, putting that in education for the students. Which way it's gonna take, which shape? I think people there, they will know how to really introduce in the proper way. I mean, to introduce in a way that to see people really remember, understand very well, so to make sure this thing should never happen again. And also other countries in the region are moving to do this. For the first time, when we had our International Day Memorial Holocaust, our event together, thanks to you and to Mail and to Luis and to your university, when we had this event together, there was two more events, and two more events in the country, and one event was in Egypt for the first time. For the first time, it happened in Egypt there. So from what I know, they were in the whole Arab world, there was 4 events. So 3 in the UAE, 1 in Egypt. So unlike last year only 1 event. It was our event at the Crossroads Civilization Museum, and then the second memorial event we did at May 26th. We did here with the Jewish community here, and also here other ambassadors from different countries. When you were there, 4 ambassadors, they came there. One of them did not speak, but 3 of them, they approached us. They said, can we speak? And they came there, which is from different countries, from Christian countries, which is, it shows that, the importance of solidarity, because people see the Holocaust also brings us together. When we understand, we have compassion for one another. It's not peace about only the good time. It's also, our peace is genuine from our side, from both sides, that we should feel for one another. We should have compassion for one another. So the museum, actually, the success of the museum, not because I'm visionary. I have no vision. I think when we do things properly, when our heart and mind in the right direction, when there's congruency with ourselves, and also, our job gets blessed. That's what I think. Beyond that, I think we have to be ourselves. And honestly, when I started building my museum, I built for myself. And whatever we do, it has to be genuine. It's like when you cook for yourself, you bring the best ingredients. When you build a house, you make the best for that, ingredients for that, the building materials. So the museum, when I established it, and I was thinking to something that would please me. I'm glad that people liked it and it grew. It went the right direction because the base was genuine, and it's not attached to any other political or any other agenda. So people see the simplicity. Its power and simplicity. It's very simple, but it's very powerful because it made with passion, and everyone works in it with passion, whether they're Israelis or they're Emiratis or they're Pakistanis or Filipinos or from Canadians, from different nationalities we have there. So everyone works there with passion.
I've seen your staff, I've interacted with your staff, and I have to say, it's evident in every single thing that you and your colleagues do that they are passionate, their work is lent with a great sense of authenticity. They care about the mission. And, we constantly, colleagues in the field, see the contrast between Holocaust and Holocaust education. The Holocaust is the past, we can't change it, dark, horrific, bleak. And Holocaust education is so uplifting, so inspiring. It helps to to build new bridges between different communities, people from all over the world who are all working towards one cause, that, as you said before, that this is not going to happen again. My friend Ahmed, you have no clue how excited I was to host you in the program and also be hosted by you in Dubai. When I came back from Dubai, I told my family that this was the first but not the last visit. I hope there would be more. And I also encourage our viewers to come to Dubai. A lot of people ask me when I came back, did you feel safe there? And I said, well, I live in the United States, in the New York area. I said, certainly safer than here. I felt very safe. People were so hospitable, kind, nice. And the entire visit just made me think about, come up with one question, the question when is the next visit? So Ahmed, I want to thank you for being such a tremendous and inspiring guest, and to also thank you again for the work that you did to create, it sounds very simple, but nobody has done it before you, to create the first Holocaust exhibit in the entire Arab world. So thank you, Ahmed. I want to thank our audience, and I hope that you will all tune in the next month when we travel from the United Arab Emirates to China to speak with Shushin actually, about Holocaust education in the 21st century in China. The Fish Center at Yeshiva University has at its core the mission to create educators for the next generation. Here's a short video about our program.
If there's truth to the saying that history repeats itself, then Holocaust remembrance and the study of genocide is not only a vital part of history, but also a crucial warning for the future.
Confronting Holocaust deniers and distorters is one of the most important tasks of our generation.
The Fish Center at Yeshiva University was founded with this mission of preserving the history of the Holocaust as well as more recent genocides. Our master's program offers a unique investigation of the Holocaust of European Jewry with an interdisciplinary approach through the lenses of law, social work, history, theology, education, literature, and political science. If this sounds like a path you would like to pursue, apply now or learn more. I'd like to extend an invitation for you to join us and become a member of our growing community of scholars and educators. I also wanted to thank Lois Roman, who is the producer of Holocaust Remembrance Around the World, and Hodaya Blau, who is our program coordinator. Also, thank you to our many community sponsors.
The Holocaust and Human Rights Education Center in White Plains, the Center for Holocaust Education of East Valley JCC in Arizona, 3GNY, the Florida Holocaust Museum, the Rabbi Arthur Schneier Program for International Affairs at Yeshiva University, Shadowlight, Manhattan College Holocaust Genocide and Interfaith Education Center, the San Antonio Holocaust Museum, SOSUA 75, Johannesburg Holocaust and Genocide Center, 2 programs at the University of Miami, the Illinois Holocaust Museum, the Holocaust Education Center in Fukuyama, Japan, the Sister Rose Thering Fund for Education in Jewish Christian Studies, Lake District Holocaust Project, Jewish Gen, the Nancy and David Wolf Holocaust and Humanities Center, and the Holocaust Education Resource Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
And now I would like, for the last time, to thank you, Ahmed. Ahmed, thank you. This was such a tremendous conversation. Honored. We're honored.
I'm honored to be part of it. I'm honored. Thank you for choosing me. Thank you.
Ahmed, ila lika, and let's be in touch. You can stay on the call, but now we will shut the recording and say goodbye to our audience. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Shalom.
you for joining us for HRO. Shalom. Bye-bye.